Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And in this video, I'm going to answer the question, is digital marketing a good career for introverts? I get this question quite a bit, and I'm going to give you a detailed answer, but the short answer is yes, digital marketing is a fantastic career for introverts, and I'm going to explain why. Now, first of all, just right off the bat, digital marketing is, as you can imagine, primarily done from your computer, and 70 to 90% of your time is going to be spent on the computer analyzing data, looking at analytics, making changes to accounts, possibly writing emails, but you are, for the most part, by yourself on the computer. In fact, at my first agency job, I was managing about 30 paid search accounts, that's Google advertising accounts, and about $100,000 a month. And I remember I'd get to work and I would talk to my coworkers, and I was very friendly with them. And then we would dial in, like my boss at the time would talk about, my supervisor at the time would compare it to the social network with the coding. Because you'd put on your headphones and then you're just dialed into the computer for several hours. However, now, it wasn't intense. It's not like, a lot of these jobs have a lot of flexibility. It's a very good work-life balance. But the point is, you are primarily working with the computer. And then, in the secondary level, you do need to communicate with other human beings. But you're not in like a sales position. I'm talking about you need to be able to talk to your supervisor, talk to your coworkers, have Zoom meetings. If you're working on a team, you got to be able to communicate what's happening with your work and their work to get on sync. And you're going to have for many positions, client calls. This is where actually you have to speak with a client and communicate what's happening with their account. They've hired you to do their SEO or their PPC to help increase their leads or sales, get more traffic to their website. They want to know what's going on. You need to be able to talk to them. So, I know there's a spectrum of introversion and extroversion. I'm saying for the average person, this is a very accessible career field, digital marketing, because it doesn't require you to be excessively extroverted, like being a salesperson or working at a restaurant or anything where you have to, talk to people who don't want to talk to you or anything. You just need to have sort of I would say, an average level of ability to engage socially. And here's the other thing I wanted to point out to you guys. I believe introversion it's all on a sliding scale and it's all relative. You guys might not even believe this, but I can be an introvert, big time. I can be quiet. I can be shy about talking to people. You might not think that because I'm always in these YouTube videos, yelling essentially, but it varies based on the situation. And I've had this experience in my life, and I've done a lot of personal development. And my experience is that, I think that human beings, like if you look at a baby, babies they're screaming, they're expressing themselves, they don't have any inhibitions. But as we get older, we get more and more inhibitions, and we get more self-conscious and express ourselves less. And it varies from person to person how much this manifests. But like, for instance, I know people who are introverted, quote unquote, but when they're with, these are friends of mine, and when they're with me or a small group of friends, these same introverts are very extroverted, very self-expressed, very comfortable. And I think it depends on the situation. That's why in my course, I teach people to quote unquote nerd out about digital marketing, because if you walk into a job interview and even if you feel shy and reserved and you don't really like talking to people that much, if you focus on something that you're passionate about, whatever that is. For me, it was digital marketing, but it could be something like sports or movies or music or whatever. There's certain topics that allow a person to kind of get taken over by their passion and forget about their introversion or their discomfort in social situations. And I've seen this happen time and time again, and I've experienced it. Because again, I've had times in my life where I was very uncomfortable talking to people, and there's other times where I feel much more comfortable. So one of the great examples I have of this is my student Jeremy, who was working for the cable company for many years before he found digital marketing. Now what is his job? He was going to people's houses and climbing up telephone poles, and he was all by himself all day, and he considered himself to be very introverted. He got his first digital marketing job, and part of that job was he had to do presentations, which was very challenging for him at first. But as he got more and more into the work, he got more and more excited about digital marketing, his knowledge, he became more confident. He started doing these presentations, and now, as he talks about this in the interview, he is very comfortable talking to people and doing presentations. I personally believe that you can actually build your ability to communicate with other people like any other muscle, just like going to the gym. Karen Chalco, who I've interviewed a few times here, who was making $52K when she was 20 years old, freelancing. She took a lot of like public speaking business classes in high school, and that really trained her on how to communicate with people better. So it's something that you can be trained in. I just like to say that to people because I don't want you to, I think you kind of box yourself in if you just think of yourself that I'm only an introvert. Because I would challenge you to look at, times in your life where you're not introverted, usually with family or friends or loved ones where you feel more relaxed in yourself. I really believe that's possible. And one of the things I love about teaching digital marketing is that it's not just a job, it's a career, but it's also the work-life balance and the culture is so great. People make new friends, they build new skills, they gain new confidence, and they do things they didn't think they could do before. So it's definitely a viable and very appealing career if you are introverted, like I was saying, but it's also a great place where you can grow. And again, you don't have to be talking to people all day long. I've had jobs like that. I did telemarketing, which was awful. I hated it. And then I went to my digital marketing job and I loved it. It's again, most of the time you're on the computer dealing with data, dealing with these very interesting puzzles that you're solving, and then you are talking to people the rest of the time. And you end up talking with your teammates and your coworkers, you make friends, it's a lot of fun. And then with the clients, that's where it's a little bit challenging for people at first, but it's such a great skill set. If you end up having the ability to confidently talk to a business owner about what you're doing, it's such an in-demand skill, and it's such a great life skill to be able to do that. And I was able to do that pretty naturally with my clients, even though I didn't have much training in that, because I had learned digital marketing from the ground up, so I could explain things to people in plain English, essentially, because I wasn't using a lot of crazy, complicated language. I was like, hey, we started running your ads, and we started getting clicks, and people go to the pages, and then the business owners are just happy to hear that. In fact, clients and business owners are usually very cool people. I actually really enjoy connecting with the business owners. And one of the things that a lot of my students say, I just interviewed somebody who was talking about the fact that when he's working in an agency, he gets to connect with all these different business owners, people who are working maybe everything from dentists to people selling, retail stuff, e-commerce, all sorts of different people. And people really like it inside of the context of this dynamic of you're the digital marketing agency. I think it's not a high pressure situation. You're not trying to sell them anything. You're just communicating, and you're really working together towards a common goal, which is to make their business more successful. So again, there is an element of human communication, but every job, even if you're working in an office doing data entry, you're going to have to communicate with people on some level. And in this field, I think it's a very appropriate level of communication. I think it's very good for introverts. And again, one thing I would also suggest that you guys do is go through the interviews that I've done with my students. There's dozens of them. And listen to the people that have had success. You can see very few people. I think I just interviewed Justin, who actually stood out in my mind because he's so outgoing. But everybody else is pretty much low-key, average person who you wouldn't think of as being extremely extroverted. In fact, some folks were a bit shy on the interview, but what I appreciate about that is they wanted to share their experience and share digital marketing with people, so they push themselves to get on YouTube. But you can see that they are humble, good, average people and a lot of them are introverts. So I watched those interviews so that hopefully that will inspire you to see that this is possible. So anyway, guys, I hope this has answered your question, and I hope this has inspired you to see that even if you're an introvert or an ambivert or whatever your personality type, digital marketing is definitely for you. There are still so many opportunities, so many job openings, such a high demand, such a low supply of skilled workers. So don't let being introverted stop you. Definitely, I encourage you to keep researching. If you want to learn more about the field and how I help people get jobs with no previous experience or education, please click the link below. Check out my free masterclass, or you can check out my full training by also clicking the link below that. And if you have any questions or any comments, of course, please leave them below this video. And I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you guys soon.